Hello people of the internet and welcome back to another Nerd Central video. In today's video I shall be continuing my series of reviews looking at the Dark Eyes series by looking at Dark Eyes 3, the third box set in the Dark Eyes series. Now we'll take a look at the packaging of the said box set. Taking a look at the packaging, you can see that, as normal, the Dark Eyes box set comes with this cardboard sleeve, which is very nice. This time, on the front, it has a picture of Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor on the left, brandishing this sonic screwdriver. Alex McQueen's master on the right, brandishing what I assume is the TCE or whatever it is. Yeah, Tissue Compression Eliminator. You know that if you know the classic series. Then down here, there's Dark Eyes 3 in this sort of 3D-like text. Then there's the starring list: Paul McGann, Ruth Bradley, Nicole Walker, Natila Burt, and Alex McQueen. Then there's the Doctor Who logo. Different from last time, because last time it had the sort of, original intro vortex, like the Howl Around vortex in the actual letters. But this time it's just plain whitey silver, which I like. Then there's the little Big Finish logo. Then they're in front of this almost watery looking vortex this time, which is very unusual. From what I can remember, it looks a bit bland when compared to the last two ones, when they had all them Daleks on and that. Yeah, I think the cover's a bit bland, to be honest, but it summarises this box set, because a lot of it is about the Master versus the Doctor, but we'll get onto that later. Anyway, looking at the top, you can see it says Doctor Who, Dark Eyes 3 on a black background. Then on the side, there is a variation on that picture at the front where it's Paul McGann looking off into the distance, and a clear image of Alex McQueen's master looking just away from the camera, looking very menacing. Then it says Doctor Who in that logo again. It has a vortex in the background. Dark Eyes 3. The titles of the episodes are 3 to show you it's the third Dark Eyes, Big Finish, and then that's it for the side. If you take a look at the back, you can see it has loads of pictures of DNA strands, like the picture of DNA. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, it has loads of picture of DNA strands. Then it's all just sort of genetic stuff on the back, which is cool. Then there's a little blurb there, which you can read if you wanna. Doctor Who, Dark Eyes 3, the starring list. Written by Matt Fisher and directed by Ken Bradley. Then there's a little quote there. And that's it for the outside of the cover. So now we'll take a look at the inside of the box set. Taking a look at the discs inside the box set, you can see that there are 4 stories as usual. The first story is The Death of Hope, written by Matt Fisher. All of these are written by Matt Fisher, just to tell you. This one has a picture of the Master and what's her name, Sally Armstrong, with a picture of Lucy Miller with some like DNA strands in front of us, and they're on the planet Hope's Gardener, I think it's called. Yeah, they're on the world Hope Gardener, I think that's what it's called, and it's sort of like a deserted place, kind of a cool looking planet. The Master in a cowboy hat, which is very unusual. It's a bit bland of a cover, really, to be honest. Then there's just the usual banner: Doctor Who, Paul McGann, and Ruth Bradley in Dark Eyes 3, The Death of Hope by Matt Fisher. Nice picture of Paul McGann with that blue vortex. Then there's a featuring list where it tells you it's featuring full cast drama for the audio adventures of Doctor Who there. On the side, it has a little picture of Paul McGann's face, Doctor Who, Dark Eyes 3, The Death of Hope, and 3.1 and Big Finish. Then at the back, you can see that it has the blurb, Dark Eyes 3, The Death of Hope, written by Matt Fisher and directed by Ken Bentley. Then there's a blurb, which you can read if you want, a cast list, and the usual legal garbage. Now, onto the second disc, you can see that the second story is Doctor Who, The Reviled. It has the usual banner there with all the information, like what story it is, Doctor Who logo, etc. Has a picture of Liv Chenko on, and Paul McGann, and they're on like the what's it called, Jungle Planet, I forgot what it's called, and that's a picture of the scorpion claws, because if you don't know the story, it's basically giant scorpions. Then on the side, it has the usual little picture of Paul McGann, Doctor Who Dark Eyes 3, The Reviled, 3.2, and Big Finish logo. Then on the back, it has Dark Eyes 3, The Reviled, who wrote it and who directed it, the blurb, which you can pause if you want to read, the cast list, and the legal stuff on the back. Then for the third story, you can see that this is my personal favourite cover out of them all, which is Doctor Who Dark Eyes 3 Master Plan. It has a nice close-up picture of the Doctor and the Master, seeing as this story focuses mostly on them two, because they're trapped on this ship from what I can remember, which is very cool indeed. But we'll get onto my thoughts on the stories later. So yeah, there's a picture of Alex McQueen's Master, Paul McGann's Doctor, in this ship that looks like it's on fire, because if you don't know, the Eminence is in this ship. Normal banner with all the normal information on. The Audio Adventures of Doctor Who. Dark Eyes 3 Master Plan, writer and director, blurb, cast list, and legal stuff. Then for the fourth story, the last story in this set, which is Doctor Who Dark Eyes 3 Rule of the Eminence, which has a cover on with the three main characters in this story, which are the Master, the Doctor, and Molly O'Sullivan. They're in the front of Earth, which I think it's like, I don't know what year it is, but it's Earth in the future. It has a like sort of an orangey look to it. I think that's to show that the Eminence is everywhere. Then they're in the front of this sort of building, which is very cool. Then it's sort of I don't know, it's not my favourite cover, but anyway. Dark Eyes 3, Rule of the Eminence, writer and director, a little blurb, the cast list, Doctor Who, legal garbage. So yeah, that's it for my thoughts on the packaging. Overall, it's not the best designs, to be honest. They're a bit bland, to be honest. The only two I really do like are Master Plan and the Reviled. So yeah, overall for the design work, it's not that good, to be honest, for a Dark Eyes box set. So yeah, now we'll take a look at my thoughts on Dark Eyes 3 in general. See you in a minute. Now on to my thoughts of Dark Eyes 3 itself. What do I think of Dark Eyes 3? Well, I don't know, it's not as good as the previous two, to be honest, and it's not as good as 4. I don't know, there's just something about it that's not as good. It's like, for example, like, The Death of Hope, that focuses way too much on the Master. The whole box set focuses, even though the Master is probably my favourite villain from Doctor Who, it focuses too much on it sometimes. Like, for example, as I was saying, The Death of Hope, it basically involves the Doctor watching events that have happened with a Time Lord, and he don't really actually do anything in the story. He just sits back and commentates on it, but it's all about the Master, like, helping this village or manipulating them to do his own thing, which is a bit weird, and that, and like other stories. Then, for example, The Reviled, the second one, has hardly any Master in it. Just has Sally Armstrong trying to convince whatever the creatures were called, I can't remember them, I can't remember the story, to be honest, but it's just his companion trying to convince the creatures to let them help them escape the Eminence and that. And it's a bit weird, because you have one story with a lot of mastering and you have one with hardly none, but the box set focuses way too much on the Master and the Doctor, which can be a bit of a bad thing. But to say that, there are some good points in this. Like, Alex McQueen is awesome as the Master, as always. Gives a really cool, a bit insane performance, and a bit chilling. I'd say it's like the male version of Missy. It's kind of cool, just like insane and chilling, but sort of calculated at the same time. And I like his chemistry between him and his like assistant, like Sally Armstrong. I think that's good. Other points. It's the first series to properly, I would say, have Liv Chenka as the companion, because in Dark Eyes 2, we had her spotted every now and then in the stories. But in this one, she's in The Reviled, she's in, what's it called, Master Plan, and she's in, what's it called? She's in what's the last one? Rule of the Eminence. So she's very prominent. Some people don't like her. I do. I just listened to Robophobia first appearance a few days ago, and I think she's brilliant. I do like her in this. It's good to get a break from like what's her name, Molly O'Sullivan, because she can get a bit tiring sometimes. So yeah, what was my best story from this? My best story was Master Plan. I really liked it because it had a right enclosed sci-fi feel, because there were two plots going on. There were one about the Doctor and the Master. I think I haven't listened to this in a while, but I think they were trying to escape the Eminence on the ship, because they were stuck on a ship, and there were quite some good dialogue with it, because the Master and the Doctor confront each other. And then in another story, Sally Armstrong and Liv Chenka are captured by the guy who ends up creating the Eminence, and he ties them into this machine, and they're both about to get killed, and he leaves it down to look who survives. And I'm not going to say who lives, but yeah, it's kind of gruesome what happens, but yeah. So I'd say Master Plan is the best one, because I really like the setting of these two stories going on, because Liv Chenka, she's trying to infiltrate the scientist's like research facility to try and change his mind, I think, on what he's doing. Whereas Sally Armstrong's trying to like hijack the project for himself, because they're both playing against each other, which is quite cool. The worst story is probably The Death of Hope, because there's not enough of the Doctor in it. Like, he's watching from the outside, but it's a bit weird because the Master being good, and you don't really have the Doctor doing anything. It's just like he's watching the story from afar. And yeah, you do get a lot of the Master, which is awesome, but you get a bit too much, because almost all the stories with the Master, and I don't know, it's just not that good of an opening. I think, to this box set. So yeah, what was I gonna say now? It features the death of a prominent character from the last few stories, like someone who was very prominent in the last story before this, which was Eyes of the Master. I'm not going to tell you who, but it features the death of that just gave it away. It's Sally Armstrong. She gets killed. That's a bit of a spoiler. Sorry about that. She gets killed in his research lab, and it's in quite a nasty way. But yeah, there's good performances all around from everybody. Paul McGann gives his usual awesomeness as the Doctor. Molly O'Sullivan can get a bit annoying, but she's alright. Then there's Liv Chenka, played by Nicole Walker, who gives a brilliant performance as always. I really like Liv Chenka. Then there's Alex McQueen, who gives a good performance as a Master, really disregards everybody. You know my thoughts on him. Then there's the woman who plays Sally Armstrong, who's also good. She really gets that evilness into her, and you really think she's a right bitch, which is a good point. But yeah, for my overall thoughts on the box set, decent box set. All the box sets of Dark Eyes are decent. The only problem is it focuses too much on the Master versus the Doctor, which can become a bit too much after a while. So I would rate this, I don't like giving ratings, but I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Best picking it up if you get all the other Dark Eyes, because you need to know the story of what happens. But yeah, it's not the best. I'd say it's the weakest out of them all. So yeah, not a bad box set by any means, but it's not the best out of Dark Eyes. Thanks for watching this video. Remember to comment, rate, and subscribe if you wanna. Check out the Facebook group if you wanna have updates on when stuff are being uploaded and updates on progress and what's happening. Check out the Twitter if you want to see what I'm up to. And yeah, I'll see you later, people of the internet. I'll see you with my next review. Okay, goodbye.